everybody. We're back. Have a seat in Sukhasana. If you'd like to sit up on some support, you can do that. If you'd like to sit on a blanket or a couple of blocks. And then bring your hands behind you to help you to lift up through your chest and release your legs downward. And just gently close your eyes. And become aware of your pattern of breathing. Not forcing, just letting go. And the more you lift up through the rib cage, the more you lift up through the crown of your head, the more you want to descend in the sitting bones, the thighs, so that there's little to no gripping in the groins and in the hips. And see if you can keep that as you bring your hands onto your legs. I have my hands resting on my knees here. And you can push back a little bit so that the femur bones sit more deeply into the hip sockets so that the groins can relax. And continue breathing, slow and smooth. And on your next exhalation, just drop your chin, keeping the chest lifted to stretch the back of your neck. And then bring your right ear toward your right shoulder to stretch the left side of the neck. Go back through center and over to the other side. And as your head is now over to the left, descend in the right shoulder. Back to center again. Right ear to the right shoulder, descend your left shoulder. Back to center, one more time, over to your left. And drop the chin to center again and raise your head. And then just rotate the cervical spine so you're looking over your right shoulder, but I'm not turning the rib cage at all. This is just a neck movement, just to keep a little bit of mobility there. To the other side. First side again, over to your right. And second side. And come to center. Now take your hands and you can interlace your fingers and go right above the base of the skull here. Lift your chest and give a little press downward. So you may feel this stretch. I'm feeling it now all the way through my shoulder blades. Right, or that part of the spine that's between the shoulder blades. And then raise your head up, and now take your fingers, and this works best if you don't have a turtleneck on or something. You take your fingers and you're going to stretch or pull downward and just push up with the chin. And then come back to neutral. Now take your hands behind you. This will be a little tougher if you're sitting up on a lot of height. You could maybe have blocks behind you if you wanted. And press down and lift your chest here. So the shoulders are rolling back. However your hands are comfortable. My fingers are slightly out to the sides. And then push yourself up and come forward. Come on up, go back once again. Try to keep, see how my legs just lifted up unintentionally. You want to try to keep the groins and the hips relax. And make this an upper back movement. Okay, so I'm not overdoing in my lumbar spine, in the lower back, and then get convex. Continue to breathe as smoothly as possible. Inhale, come up and go back. Stretching the upper back and then the shoulders. Inhale, come up, come forward again. And then roll up. And you're just going to make some circles here. Initiating the movement from as low as possible, right? Down by the tailbone. Feel how the sacrum is moving as well. Feel how the hips move. You can make your circles as big or as small as you are comfortable with. And then circle the other way. And you can get your head involved a little bit, right? So now I'm moving in the neck as well. People that get the vertigo, go easy with this. Don't move your head around as much. Go the other direction. Keeping the breath slow and smooth. And coordinating with your movements. And then you just slowly make your way back to center. And then you're turning to the right, twisting to the right, and to the left, and to your right, and to your left. Come to center, switch the cross in your legs, come forward, and walk over to Parshva. And Parshva to the other side. Right side once again. And last time to your left. Come back through center. And then push yourself up. Okay. So you can move your blankets if you were sitting on something there. And we'll start in downward facing dog. Well, we already started. We'll continue in downward facing dog. Lift up your heels as if you're wearing high-heeled shoes to get a stretch through the front of the ankles and to lift the buttocks up a little bit higher. And then slowly bring the heels down. If they don't make it to the floor, that's fine. But press the heels downward now so that you get a stretch through your calves. And then walk forward to Uttanasana. You're welcome to have your feet apart. And then you can bring your hands to your hips. Inhale and come up. Trikonasana to your right. Extend your legs fully, extend your arms fully. Triangle pose going to your right. Coordinate your movements with your breaths. Inhale, come up, stay there. Exhale, come down once again. Inhale, come up. You don't have to be exactly in rhythm with me here. Everybody's breathing is a little bit different, and I'm talking, so my breathing is a little bit different. Come down again. So just a few times. Inhale, come up. I think that was 3 times on that side. Okay, turn your feet. All the things you know about Trikonasana, everybody that I'm sending this video to knows a lot about Trikonasana, so do all of those things with your feet and your legs and your ankles and your hips and your spine, and exhale, come down. Inhale, press into the floor, come up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up. Exhale, last time, go down. And inhale, come up. Turn your feet forward. You can rest your hands on your hips for a moment while I lower the space heater that I have on here because I'm getting too warm. Okay. So you organize your feet, and we'll do warrior 2 to your right, same way. So bring a lot of attention to your left foot and your left leg. Imagine that there's a rope tied around this inner left thigh, and it's pulling your left thigh up. Okay, so there's a lot of stability and movement at the same time on this side. So exhale, inhale, come up. Exhale, down. Inhale, come up. You can turn your head, I forgot. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up. So can you feel on the way up, can you feel the hamstrings working here? Because I push into the floor, hamstrings have to work in order to come up. We want to keep that activity in the hamstrings even when we're all the way down here in the pose. And then do the other side. Okay, so now there's a rope tied around your right thigh, and the right thigh is being pulled up and out to the side. So similar to the outer edge of the foot pressing, the inner ankle bone lifting, all of that stuff. Exhale, come down. Inhale, up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, up. Last time. Exhale, come down. And inhale, up. Turn your feet forward and bring your legs to about hip distance apart, Uttanasana. Release your neck. And just keep yourself as present with your practice as possible. Bend your legs a little bit. Inhale, come up. I'm gonna get a block. Actually, I'll get 2 blocks while I'm at it. Okay, blocks are going here. Your right leg is coming forward. Left leg back. The hips, you want the hips to be square to your laptop or whatever you're watching this on, okay, or square to the edge of the mat. So this left hip is rolling forward. This right hip is not only pulling back, but it's also, when I come into this pose, I need to shift this hip over toward the other one. Okay, so it's your right hip that we need to shift over to the left, because you're coming into Parivrtta Trikonasana. Now you can either, you don't have to have blocks, you can either go to the floor, you can have your hand on the inside. That's where the squeezing of this right hip is really important. And you want to maintain having the crown of the head in line with the tailbone as much as possible. If you can take a break, go to the outside of the foot. Repeat. Breathe. and release. Okay, you can bend your front leg a little bit to come up. Okay, and then you switch your feet. As I'm filming myself here, I'm a little more self-conscious than I normally would be teaching, because it's like, you know, this is going to be on a video, so I'm watching all these things that my body does just out of habit. I'm like, oh, this knee, stop going in like that. You know, we all have those things. Go ahead, Parivrtta Trikonasana. The tip of the head, right? Especially in a pose like this, you want to, our brain really likes to be aligned with the horizon, right? So we tend to keep our head lifted up, and then go to the outside if you can. So all these little things you start to watch in yourself as you're doing. And release. Bend your front leg and come up. Okay, take wide legs again. Extend your arms out to the sides. Left toes in, right leg out. Of course, you can use your block for this if you'd like. Utthita Parshva Konasana. So I bend and I reach. Inhale, come up. Okay, again, bend and reach. Inhale, come up. Other side. Okay, get your feet situated. Make sure that the front of the thighs, the back of the thighs, the inner thighs are all lifting up to support the joints, so those muscles are working. Bend and reach. Inhale, push into the floor with your feet, come up and bend and reach. Inhale, come up. Turn your feet forward and step your legs together or close together. Uttanasana. Bend your legs, inhale, come up. I'm going to move back to my wall here for Ardha Chandrasana. If you would like to do this in the middle, do it in the middle, okay? You can use a block for your hand or not. So what we're going to do is we'll just step right into this. We won't come through Trikonasana and all that stuff, okay? Like the classic Iyengar way of doing it, where you go from triangle pose. So what you want to do is you want to have your right toes really pointed that way. I teach this over and over again. Don't let your foot turn in, right? Mine wants to turn in too. Don't let that happen. I'm about a block's distance, maybe a little bit more away from the wall, so that I have room for my butt. If you're in the middle of the room, doesn't matter where you are. So what we're going to do is just press down, lift up, come back. Okay? Press. I'm looking at my knee, okay? My head, I know my head is forward. I'm looking at this knee because what I wanted to do is I wanted to keep facing that way with the toes. Okay, so I get strength on the outer hip. And you can keep going. Breathe, coordinate your actions with your breath. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. You should feel the outer right hip working, the right buttock muscles working. Okay, one more time. Down. Now hold it. If you're at a wall, you could look up. If you're in the middle and you look up, Be careful. And bend your leg and come down. Okay, second side. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Watching where that knee is tracking. Inhale up, using the outer hip. Exhale down. Inhale up. I don't know how many we did on the other side. I forgot to count. I always forget to count. Exhale down. Inhale up. We'll do one more and we'll stay. Exhale down. Breathe. And then come on out. Okay. Parshvottanasana, we'll do like this. I'm going to start with tall blocks. Okay, I also have to keep reminding myself to lift up the pelvic floor, right? To do Mula Bandha in all of this, which does help to strengthen the muscles in front of the spine so that the spine is supported not just by your back muscles. And especially in a forward bend like this where we can just kind of forget about this whole area, you want to lift up through the pelvic floor. Okay, so I'm on tall blocks here, which many of you can get to. If some of you need a little more height, you could use a chair for this or something, improvise. Some of you guys do better off going up the wall. So I have an imaginary wall here, right? Remember this one? You go up the wall instead. But whatever height you need, you take. Keep weight in your back foot. And then if possible, you go a little lower. And what I'm doing today is I'm reaching forward. You need to get length through the side body. And breathe. And then maybe you go down here. And then maybe you get to the floor, maybe not, maybe. And then you can bend the front leg a little bit so it feels stronger. Inhale and come up. Okay, do the same thing on the other side. We'll start high. It's tempting. I almost just did it. It's tempting to just put your hands on the blocks here and step back. It's easy to do that, and sometimes we practice like that. But it's really important for us to be able to work with strengthening and balance. So I shift weight into my front foot here. That has to hold me up while that foot is in midair. And you know what? You know, if we ever slip on anything, or, I mean, we're done with the ice, hopefully, snow, things like that. But, you know, if you find yourself where you slip on something, we have to be okay with these actions and not just get to a pose and get kind of stuck there, right? So coming in this way helps to develop that core strength, okay? Lift up the pelvic floor. Keep the weight in your back foot. Keep your hips as aligned as you can. It's very hard to know where the hips are. All kinds of things want to happen with the hips, especially if you are a more flexible person. Right, so you do your best, reaching forward, and breathing. And you can go lower if possible. Look at the skin above your knees, okay? You're all home. Nobody cares what your legs look like. I'm the only one on camera. Wear shorts when you practice. I mean, unless you're really, really cold, wear shorts. And what's going on in these muscles here? Are they working or are they doing nothing? Right? You see, you have to lift up the quadriceps. Go a little bit more if you can. To the floor if you can. Keeping reaching forward. Breathe. And then bend your front leg a little bit. Inhale and come up. You can step your feet now into Prasarita Padottanasana. Okay? Keep reminding yourself. I have to keep reminding myself. Lift up internally. Lift up internally. Come forward. You can do dog pose arms to begin with. You can use your exhalations to pump a little bit. Don't bounce on your shoulders, but pump a little bit. Exhale, get deeper. Exhale, go deeper. Exhale, closer to the floor. Maybe you need to put a block under your head. Maybe not. Maybe you stay in the concave spine position with straight arms. Okay, depending on what you need to do. Breathe. And then you can come to concave. Take your feet in a little bit. Okay, a little bit. Now tighten the legs. Inhale, lifting up to come up. And then we can go to downward dog. We'll come in classically this time, which is actually from your belly. I don't know if you've opened Light on Yoga in a while, but it's one of the many ways to do downward dog. So I want to make sure my feet are on my mat. So you'll take your hands right about where you would if you were to push up into upward dog. And as a matter of fact, you have to come through a little mini upward dog. You tuck your toes underneath and then you go back. This should give you your distance. This should give you a good distance in dog pose. And then come back down. Okay, so the hands are by the chest. Definitely lower than the armpits. You roll your shoulders back, little mini upward dog, tuck your toes, downward dog. And if you have shorts on, look at where your kneecaps are facing. Have your kneecaps facing forward. Come back down. And don't move your hands, don't move your feet. We'll keep going. Press up, tuck the toes, downward dog. Come down. I'm letting my knees land first. So this is kind of a smooth movement. Tuck, go up. Knees down, roll down. Okay, you feel your arms working? Downward dog. Knees down. I turn the feet over. Hopefully you can see my feet in the video. And then upward dog. Come down. Back to downward dog. Now you can try rolling over your feet into upward dog. So instead of that thing that many of us do, right? Instead of that, you can try rolling over the feet. Woo, it brought me too far forward. So you take Shalabhasana if that happens to you. Right, so let me move back. Okay, upward dog, downward dog, upward dog, you find your distance. Downward dog, one more upward dog, last downward dog, child's pose. Let your breathing recover. In case you got warm like me. And then inhale, make your way up. Okay. And stretch your legs up, Dandasana. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, come forward, Paschimottanasana. If you like head support, you can do that. Reach your support forward though. Okay, so if you put it too close to you, you end up getting too round in the upper back. The support can be as high as you'd like. You could even use a chair, whatever you have. And I inhale and I come up. Upavishta Konasana. Okay, again, head support if you'd like. Some of you can take your head to the floor here. Not me. So I come forward. I can go down a little bit lower though, I think. Yeah. You can hold your ankles. You can hold your toes. Breathe. Lengthen the front body. And then use your hands to push yourself up. Okay. Baddha Konasana. This is fine. This is fine too. Holding the toes, interlacing your fingers around the feet is fine. Holding the ankles is fine. Any of those things. You could try all of them if you'd like. So lift up, broaden your chest. Release the thighs as much as possible. And keep lifting up through the crown of your head. And then you can roll back a little bit. Bring the legs forward. Bend your right leg. Janu Shirshasana. I am not going way back with my leg anymore. I used to do that. Some of you still can do that. Remember this whole thing, right? Well, if you have a sacrum that gets a little wonky sometimes, you know, sacrum has a lot of different movement. It can go forward, back, the SI joints rather, forward, back, up, down. So it's a little bit safer, I think, safer of a practice to just keep your pelvic bones where they are. And you could bend the leg up like this and bring the leg out to the side. So it's more like a tree pose type of thing rather than, you know, going way back. Okay, inhale your arms up. Of course, if you need to sit on height, sit on height. If your knee is way up in the air, it's probably a good idea to sit up on something. Exhale, come forward. And you can hold on. Breathe. And you most likely have to roll down your right ribs down toward the floor. And then inhale, come up and do the other side. See, not a big movement with the hips. This pelvic bone rolls back a little bit. Right? It doesn't have to stay completely parallel. Come forward. Most likely have to roll down your left ribs now. Let the breath go where it wants to go in these poses. Inhale, lift up. Okay, take this leg out. All right, this is not for everyone. So if you need to repeat Janu Shirshasana, that's fine. Okay, you take your hand behind your knee here. And this is the way that I like to come into Padmasana. Okay, if you have a different way, then that's great. Okay, so I roll, then I release, roll over to the side, release. The hand goes behind the knee, the other hand goes underneath the outside of the foot, tip over, the opposite buttock comes off the floor. Okay, go easy with this. Use your breath. Okay, so this is just to warm up the hips a little bit. Padmasana is one of these things for some of us that comes super easy. I have a very good friend that can actually sleep in Padmasana. Not me. So I need a bit more warming up to do this, okay? All right, so that feels pretty good. So I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to draw it up toward the hip crease. And if your leg is off the floor this much, don't worry about it. Obviously, if you have knee pain, do not do this, okay? You do something else, right? You can do Sukhasana or Janu Shirshasana. So the knee is up a little bit here. However, when I come forward, Ardha Baddha Padma Paschimottanasana, when I come forward, the leg does descend down. The biggest problem in this pose, not the biggest, one of the issues in this pose is that this foot pressing into this muscle is like a killer. So the more you get the foot sort of above the belly of that muscle, the happier you'll be. And come forward. If you have the flexibility to reach around and clasp, that doesn't always happen. If you have that flexibility and can still come forward, you go ahead and do that. But you see, the pose gets a little bit distorted then. I'd have to roll these ribs down a lot. They don't exactly want to do that, so I'm better off here for right now. And then you come on up and take this leg out very mindfully. Even if you're flexible and you can like flip your legs out of Padmasana easily, just go gentle with your knees. Okay, and then we'll do the other side. Come do that a couple of times if you'd like. You try to get the foot above that hurty spot on the muscle there. His leg is a little tighter. It's up a little higher. Yours may be easier. And I'm just testing the waters a little bit. And come forward. So another little tip in this pose is, you know, we're so used to kind of gripping in a way, doing a lot with the quadriceps, with the muscles in the front of the thigh here. Just let go of that muscle. And you feel that it eases up, hopefully eases up that, that pressure a little bit. You can hold the big toe if you'd like with your left arm, left fingers. And breathe. And then inhale, come up. Okay, carefully take that leg out. I'm going to use a little support for this. Adho Mukha Pada Paschimottanasana. Again, knee problems, you have to go easy. If you need more support, if you need a lot of support, that's fine. To be able to take this leg back, the foot goes straight back, and I only have, it'll be your left buttock. It's only going to be your left buttock on the support if you're sitting up on height. The right buttock, let it hang off the blanket a little bit. The foot is straight back. If you're at home, you know, laughing at I know a few of you really struggle with this pose. If it's like, you know, no prop in the world is going to help you, let's do this instead. Okay, so there's an option instead of taking the Marichasana one leg. Okay, inhale, come up. Exhale, come forward. I like to leave a little bit of separation between the thighs here. I think it gives a little bit more balance. Use your breath to go deeper. And inhale, come up. Again, careful with this leg, careful with your knees. So I bend over to the side so there's no pressure on the leg as I'm coming out. Okay, and then second side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come forward. And to this day, I never remember which way the hands go, whatever way is more comfortable for you. Right? You do want to pull back on the outer edge of the foot, however, right? We don't want the foot to be all sickled like that. So you pull back on the outer edge of the foot so you get a little more juice out of the hamstring stretch. And what you can do is you can put your right hand on the floor to push, and you get yourself a little bit deeper into the pose. You can let go a little bit more that way. You feel less tippy. And then inhale, come up. I lean over to the side so there's no pressure on the knee, and I take the leg out. Okay, do you have a belt? Get a belt or whatever, a bathrobe strap. Okay, lie on your back. And just be here for a moment with the legs bent in order to let the lower back just settle down. Okay, you can lengthen the base of the skull away from the neck bones, keeping the chest open. Go ahead and take your right leg up, Supta Pada Angustasana. And let's cross the belt for today, cross the pieces. And with your right leg up, you're then going to pull more with your left hand. So it pulls the outer edge of the foot down, just like you were doing in the previous pose here. Outer edge of the foot moves toward your hip. Other leg is straight if it can be. If that causes too much conflict for you, the hamstrings are tight, you can certainly leave your left leg bent. Maintain that openness in the chest so that the breath can move in and out with ease. And then hold the belt only in your right hand. You can take your left hand onto your thigh and do a sit-up. So as I'm sitting up here, I pull the leg more in the direction toward over my head. Make sure you're using your abs and not too much in your neck. If you need to support your head, you can certainly do that. And now watch here. I'm going to stay in this sit-up position, And I'm going to bend the right leg out to the side. I can get my elbow underneath the ankle here, and then I bring the arm behind the head. Okay, that may not happen for everybody. So what you may need to do is this, right? And you can bring the arm back, or you can be here, okay? And do this version here. Either way, you're getting a stretch in the piriformis. And then reach the leg up. Go out to the right. And you can bring your left arm out to the side for balance. Inhale, come up. Just switch your hands. Cross the leg over the midline a little bit without letting the right side of your sacrum come off the floor. And give a good push with your right hand into the top of the thigh. Inhale, come up, and then release. Okay, get the other leg. Okay, so you're pulling down more with your right hand now, which will pull the outer edge of your left foot down toward your hip. So you feel the outer hamstrings a little bit more, which you may or may not like. Right? And do keep pushing up into the big toe mound. Keep the breath regular. Checking in with your breathing often. And then hold only in your left hand. Take your right hand onto your thigh. Inhale, do your sit-up. And then this piriformis stretch, any way you're doing it, you can get the elbow under there, bring the arm behind the head. Those of you, I didn't mention this on the other side, but if you can get this hand back here that's holding the belt, if you can do the classic pose and hold your toe, you go for it. That's not going to happen for me right now. But you can certainly do that. And then this arm would be straight out on the thigh. Inhale, come up. And go ahead out to your left. Reaching the right arm out to the side. Okay, draw the leg up, switch hands. Press with your left hand into the left thigh. And you see how, I don't know, you're probably looking at your own foot, but my foot keeps kind of wanting to do that sickle thing. We have to always remind ourselves to push there, and it changes everything. So I'm not collapsing in that inner ankle, as long as I remember to not collapse in the inner ankle. And then come up, and you can bring that leg down. Okay, be here for a moment. And then bend your legs, roll onto your side. And you will set yourself up for Shavasana. Okay. If you have a bolster, you could put that under your knees. If you don't have a bolster, you just make a bolster like this. If you want to put on, more of a cover-up sweater, socks. Maybe I'll turn my space heater back on. Okay, and where I have the bolster placed, it's on this side of my knees. It's more underneath my thighs than it is toward the calves, and that's what helps the lower back to get settled down. Okay. Another thing you can do is to move the buttock flesh out to the sides. We always think of moving the buttock flesh toward the heels. Move the buttock flesh out to the sides so you feel the sacrum. You feel that bone of the sacrum even on the floor. Okay, you can adjust the flesh on the top of the back. Take your arms as wide as you need. If you have glasses, take those off. Deep inhalation, full exhalation. Exhale completely. And just relax your belly, relax your throat. Let go in your arms and your legs. Let the whole body just settle. And we can take this time that we have here, this very special time that we have, this moment in our lives, to learn how to sit and stay, to learn how to lie down and stay without anticipation. And of course, it's easier said than done. But if you think about it, this is the perfect opportunity to practice that. And there is nowhere to go, nowhere to be, nowhere to rush to. Just go within yourself. There's a lot to explore internally. That internal universe is expansive and vast and truly worth exploring. And you are welcome to stay as long as you'd like. Otherwise, you can bend your legs. Roll onto your side. And push yourself up. Stay safe and healthy, everybody. I'll see you soon.